adults from our brunch stations. Sunday brunch is $55 US per adult. Add $25 US and enjoy bottomless mimosas and Bloody Mary beverages while you dine. It's Sunday brunch, your choice, your way, at Fisherman's Village, Park Hyatt, St. Kitts, Gustav Harbor. Brunch is 11 a.m. to 3 p.m.
Just like this, I like it like this, just like this.
Good morning. Welcome to a brand new week, business week. Welcome to a brand new edition of Frank and Candid. I am Tony Nice. Hope you had a great weekend. Hope you accomplished all you wanted to accomplish. Hope you had some fun. I know most of you are back to work today. Hope you're not hurting too much. These holidays, these long holidays have a way of inflicting pain. So I hope all is well. Hope all is well this morning, and you're ready for a productive week. All right, let's begin as we usually do. We are going to the news. After missing an expected March shipment time frame for the first tranche of the AstraZeneca vaccine, the COVAX doses are expected to arrive in the Federation today, Tuesday, April 6th, and this is according to a delivery schedule posted to the Pan American Health Organization. Okay, as is being witnessed here in Bastille, signages at the Royal Bank of Canada have been removed, as you may have seen that, and replaced with those of the Bank of Nevis. That is due to the sale of the Royal Bank being finalized. The Bank of Nevis was part of a consortium of banks that purchased the operations of the Canadian Bank, along with the Royal Bank of Trinidad and Tobago, RBTT, in the Eastern Caribbean. In a statement, RBC announced that as of Thursday, April 1st, it has received the required approvals from local governments and from Eastern Caribbean Central Bank for the sale of its Eastern Caribbean banking operations, which meant that the transaction closed on that day. The buyers were 5 banks from across the Eastern Caribbean, which formed the consortium: First National Bank of St. Lucia, Antigua Commercial Bank, Bank of Dominica, Bank of Montserrat, and the Bank of Nevis. The bank sold included 11 RBC branches in Antigua and Barbuda, Dominica, Grenada, Montserrat, St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Lucia, and St. Vincent and the Grenadines, as well as 2 RBTT operations. The sale of the Eastern Caribbean operations is another move by Canadian banks to exit the region altogether. A number of financial institutions have begun to exit the region, including Scotiabank, which sold the majority of its operations in the region to Republic Financial Holdings. All right, so you would see, as of today, the Bank of Nevis operating in St. Kitts for the first time. All right, and that's what's in the news at the moment. Okay, this morning, being Tuesday, we're continuing our Tuesday discussion on all things youth, youth activities, etc. here in the Federation. And I do have a guest again this Tuesday morning, and she is Miss Sharon Cannonier, who is a youth officer in the youth department with responsibility for the Youth Volunteer Corps. And we will talk about the Youth Volunteer Corps over the next several minutes here on Frank and Candid. So, let me begin by introducing Miss Cannonier. Ms. Cannonier, welcome to Frank and Candid.
Thank you. Pleasant morning.
All right. You have responsibility for the Youth Volunteer Corps as a youth officer in the Department of Youth. Tell me about that volunteer corps. What is it, and when was it formed?
Okay, good morning once again. My name is Sharon Cannonier, and as Mr. Nias would have said, with responsibility for the Youth Volunteer Corps, I am a youth officer. Now, the Volunteer Corps, let me just start with our motto that we have in the department, which is to give youth a voice and inspire greatness. In coming up with that motto, I should say, I think that the main idea to have a volunteer corps is basically to have persons give back to their community in terms of a volunteer service. So the Volunteer Corps, which is an initiative by the Department of Youth, it engages young persons in volunteer service all over the island, on St. Kitts and Nevis, as a matter of fact. So it can stem from a beach cleanup to community cleanup or uplifting your community, whether you're going to plant flowers or fruit trees. We do that too. Helping the elderly, we do that. So that is such a big passion for some of the volunteers, because not everybody has that passion, but for those who have it, they tend to lean towards the elderly persons and caring for them. So besides that, we've had tutoring services for persons who may have homework, after school homework. We have it's a variety of things off the top of my head. So besides that, tree planting, we have beach cleanups, we have when I say beach cleanups, we go to, well, if tourism is having an activity, then they would actually partner with us. Then we get volunteers to come on board to do all of that. So to start, basically, we do volunteer service, and it's for NGOs. They can always call to the department. There is a process that would have to be done. First, the form has to be filled within a time frame of 14 working days. It has to be in advance. So we do not wish anyone to just pop up and say, you know what, I need volunteers next week, and think that they can send it today, Tuesday, and they get it next week. We try our best, because of course some of our volunteers, they are students, some are working persons, so you still have to make sure that you can get the persons that you actually want for the time frame. You can't just drop it on them. Yes, they're doing volunteer service, but it's like we're pushing something on them if we give them a last minute thing to be done. So we wish for persons, NGOs, that's persons, if you are doing an activity and it's not, as long as it's not something you're raising funds for, you're making money off of, we welcome persons to sign up. You sign up, you register, you say you would like this amount. You have to specify and say what the volunteers will be, what experience they will get from when they're doing this. So all of that is on the form. After that is done, then we send out a broadcast to the volunteers, because we do have a group chat for them, and then we get the volunteers you need. After that is done, they perform their services. You have to write a report and let us know these volunteers what they did. Each one, you have to do an evaluation on them, so that we know whether this volunteer performed to the expectation. They have to be held accountable. So that is our way of holding them accountable. If we get an evaluation and you say, well, okay, well, you got a C grade or you got a D, why? We call you and have a short meeting. We explain to you that this is not a grade that we accept because you can be penalized for that. For the volunteers who would be, because our youth policy state that our age range is basically from 12 to 29. Before we had 16 to 35. We know some people out there, we say, yeah, well, I'm just over 30. Yeah, I don't understand. I sympathize with those persons because some persons who are older than 29 do still volunteer with us, and we welcome them. It's just they're not going to have the same process where we're going to say, okay, well, then we can, for the safe person that are unsafe, they have to do like 4 hours of volunteer service. It's a part of their the scholarship program. So it's mandatory for them to do 4 hours each month for their services. For the other persons who are on the volunteer corps who are not a part of that, we welcome them. But then after a period of time, if you're not performing the way you're supposed to, we can always choose to give you the boot to say you're not performing as you're supposed to, so we cannot have you. Just, it's like dead weight, we can't do that. So, as I said, everything is basically a process that we have to go through with the volunteer corps.
Generally, you're recruiting volunteers from schools, is that correct?
Well, it has to be, they have to come from high schools. We have younger ones that do volunteer, because then if their parent is volunteering, they will say, Mommy, I want to come along, and then we welcome them, because you train up a child from when they're younger, and if they see this is something that they actually like doing, this is something that will be instilled in them, and they will continue. And that's what we want. You know, a lot of persons don't like to do volunteer service because some persons are always looking for a handout. So we're trying to get this children to understand that it's not everything you expect monetary handout for, or gifts in return or something like that. Something you have to give back to your community, give back to somebody, because somebody would have made a way for you to be here, and you don't know what was done in order for you to be here now in this position. So giving back, I don't see it has been a bad thing. I've been a part of Red Cross for like 15 years. So, and it's not something that I get paid for. So it's just, you have to have a love for it. So we're trying to instill that in these young people that, well, you know what, you do this. And I think some of the schools have made it mandatory now for them to do volunteer service as part of their curriculum, which is a good thing. What
kind of, once someone registers, what kind of training are they getting?
Okay, for that we do have conflict resolution, because you know where you go, everybody's not going to see eye to eye, so you have to know how to deal with a conflict in that state. We train them in volunteer service. We train them in time management, because you have to let them know, if you say that you're supposed to be here for 6 o'clock, that's where you're supposed to be at 6. You're supposed to make sure that whatever you do, this is where I'm going to be at 6 o'clock. So time management is a big thing, and conflict resolution, because young people, some of them are a little bit hot-headed, and you have to get them to the place where, you know what, it's not everything that you blow out at. So you have to try to diffuse the situation the best way possible. We do not, for instance, if they go to a place where they would have something is wrong there, I don't know, it may be the supervisor or something with another volunteer that they're working with, we always encourage them to come back to the office, and when you're writing your report, because they too have to write a report, when they write the report, please specify and say what was the matter, not that the person that's evaluating them, when they send back, we only see their side of the story. We would like to hear from the volunteer also. We don't want to put them in a situation where they feel uncomfortable, or they felt that the person mistreated them. That's not what they're there for. We're trying to teach them stuff. So then therefore, we wish, if you are the teacher, treat them with the same respect, and as the volunteer, they should be respected.
Okay. You spoke a while ago about an evaluation. What happens after that evaluation? I mean, an evaluation could be good, an evaluation could be bad. So, talk to me about what happens.
If you get a bad evaluation. So the first step for that, we call in the volunteer or the volunteers. we read what the evaluation said. We ask questions because, of course, you're not going to write, oh, this student, they just did this and did that, and we're not going to hear their part. There's always two sides to a story.
Right.
After doing that, now, basically, I don't think that the evaluator, they're going to just up and said, well, this person showed up to do their service at 7 when it was supposed to be 6. We're going to ask, did you arrive late? Yes. What was the reason? If it's something that we can see, give a leeway to, then we give a leeway to that. But we always tell them that communication is key, because there is a chat. Have myself, have my assistant, who is Mr. Gilbert, Stephen Gilbert. They can reach out to either one of us and let us know, well, Ms. Cannonier, Mr. Gilbert, I'm going to be late this afternoon. This is the reason why. We can in turn call ahead and let the person know this volunteer is scheduled to be there for 6, but they cannot. So they're going to be there for 7 instead. Can you allow them to be there at that time and continue their service hours? If it's a very bad evaluation where we know basically there is no way out of that, they will be written up for in the first instance. They have about 3 warnings before for the safe volunteers, they have deductions. For the other volunteers, 3 warnings would be a dismissal off of the Corps. So
Okay.
they have to go through that.
Well, I can't just ask about the bad evaluation, the good one. So what happens to the good ones?
So the good evaluation, of course, I always commend them on the work that they do, especially when I know that when I get good reports and I say that, you know what, in our meetings this morning, I also said that to my supervisor. I said, you know, I got a good report and I felt so good within myself. I was like, oh, like these are my babies, I know. But I said I always commend them when they're doing something good. In November, which is scheduled to be our Youth Month activities, it has been done for the past 4 years, where we have awarded persons who did the most hours within the volunteer corps. So we have the students that are on the SAFE program or not on the SAFE program. We award both paths. So I call it volunteer corps 1 and 2, so that I can differentiate for the age difference especially. So those that are not on the SAFE program, they do get awarded for contributing the most volunteer hours at the end when we're doing our November Youth Month activities. So
What is the strength of the volunteer corps at the moment, roughly?
At the moment, 207.
And what are some of the challenges that you may face with such an organization?
With such an organization. Now, in the past, from the inception of it was a little bit it was a little bit tedious to deal with, I must say. But I now have an assistant, so it's working out as it should. But things that I've faced before is non-compliance. And then we have persons sign up and then they don't show up for an activity where they're supposed to be. That, of course, we held them accountable for that. Other things, it has never been like to say that they have been very disrespectful of some sort, but minor things that we can actually deal with, that it did not merit anyone being dismissed from the Corps. So it was a matter of getting them to understand that it's not something that we want to force on them, but they have to be that person that say, I want to give back. I want to. For those who are on the scholarship, they know that it's mandatory. It's part of their scholarship. For the persons, we always try to encourage them to do volunteer service when needs be.
What about the support that you get? Do you see that you get adequate or reasonable support from, say, the public sector and private sector stakeholders?
Before COVID, it was wonderful. I think the thing is now, because of COVID and all of the rules and regulations that has to be applied right now, what happens is that we do not have a lot of the places that we used to have before to send the students, the volunteers. We don't have a lot of them, and I know Miss Bracha especially, she was always one who was outreach, and she was reaching out to us and she was saying, you know what, I need volunteers for this, I need volunteers for that. Addie's place, where you have the differently able persons, they would reach out and they want assistance and we would send them. But now, because of everything, it's kind of hard. like that right now. So that is just for now. This is what we're facing, and we know we have to find ways, because COVID is not really something that we're going to disappear overnight. So we have to find ways and means to go around. But in doing that, still we have to look at the persons that we are going towards or leaning towards to look after. So for those at Addie's place, we know the situation with them, and we have to be very careful. So that's just, we have had the support, we have had it. It's just now with COVID, it's just a little bit under the wire per se. But I'm expecting, we are still getting support from other persons. We have SKN AAA, SKN AA, that would be the athletics. We have Scabber reaching out to us. We have tourism doing that. So partners are still there, but the few that had to be dropped off, we can still, because we have persons who are very, very passionate about working with these persons.
Is the volunteer corps that you're heading, is it limited to St. Kitts, or?
No, both St. Kitts and Nevis. Because on Nevis, what happened is that the youth department that is on Nevis, we give them sole responsibility for the students that would be from Nevis 6th Form or persons over there who are interested in the volunteer corps. So we give them leadway to deal with those on Nevis. If they are in St. Kitts, or if they're from Nevis but they're based in St. Kitts most of the time, they would say, you know what, I would like to do my service here instead than to going back over. But we try to give them their portion so they can do what. And if there's something over there, because we've been over there, we've taken students over for volunteers, over for service over there, beach cleanups and so on. So we're not limited to stay on the island. So we always ask persons, you're over on Nevis and you need volunteers. Of course, you can hit up the youth department where the St. Kitts on Nevis and let us know.
As far as the inductees into this program, let's stick with the geography here. Do we find that we get more people coming into the program from one area as opposed to other, like say more from Bastia, then Sandy Point or Keon, or where is the most challenging part of the island?
I think the countryside
district.
Yeah, I think Sandy Point. Well, they're not gonna be in. It's not St. Paul, so St. Paul's, we don't get a lot from St. Paul's, but if we have to do by zones, I think the majority of the persons are in Bastia, in the zone in Bastia. Yeah.
Are you doing outreach into these areas?
We do go zone by zone. Each officer within the department, they're responsible for a zone.
Okay.
So each person, like for instance, when we're doing the Green Tree Project, the Green Thumb Project, which is the tree planting, that is island-wide. It's island-wide. So a youth officer that is responsible for a zone, they will get a portion of volunteers. They do their thing that day, and so on and so forth. So if we have National Volunteers Day, for instance, it wasn't done this year, but National Volunteers Day, we go all out. So February 13th, we did something like that, but it wasn't National Volunteers Day, it was just Youth Day. So we went around the island and we planted trees. When you're coming through West Farm, you would see some pallets that are on the lower side of the road. That is what we had to end up doing, because we have realized in the past when we do that, if we don't fence them in, we don't have anything left back afterwards. So the animals come through and just graze on the grass and everything else that they find, which includes our fruit trees. So we normally get agriculture, they're on board with us. They would donate the plants to us and trees. This year we only got trees like ornamental plants, they couldn't give us fruit trees for now. They have to restock. So so
I asked you about support from the public sector and private sector, but what about parents? You find any challenges there?
No. What happens is some of the parents wish to be in our group chat also.
Okay.
Because they want to know when there is something being done, so that they can make sure that their children do their part. In the past, of course, we've had parents say, well, I want to come join, and they came to the sessions when we had the training for the volunteers. They came and signed up the form, they came on board. So the parents are very supportive for the better part of it. Yes. Yeah. We've had challenges with some parents who ultimately think that we we are working the children to the bone. So we had to let them know, no, it's only 1 hour and 4 hours per month. So it's, no, it's not. We're not working them to the bone because of the scholarship. So please take that out of your mind, parents. It's only 4 hours per month, and they can do an hour a day if they wish, or an hour a week. Some of the volunteers, they go to Somerset, they go to basketball. One game, they're going to start at 6 o'clock. Then they may not finish until maybe 9 or 10. Automatically, how many hours you have there in that one night?
There you go. They're finished.
There you go. They are finished. Yeah. But they choose to continue some of them.
You can continue. Right?
You can continue.
Okay.
And then you know that if there is a month when there is nothing, because sometimes we don't have anything, and we don't penalize them for that. God forbid, we do not. We do not hold them accountable for the time. We do not disperse them to different areas to do volunteer service. So as long as there's something to do, we send it in the chat. We have them send in their names. And of course, bam, there you go. You do your hours. You continue if you wish.
How do you determine, do you have situations where people prefer a particular project as opposed to another? How do you?
As I said, some people have passion for certain things, and they would ask, Ms. Kennedy, can I do this instead, or can I do that? When we are having an island-wide thing, if we're doing something all together on one date, what we try our best to do, persons who live in the Bastille, the vicinity of Bastille, we would not automatically take you and send you to the countryside. We try to place you on an activity right in the Bastille vicinity where you know, that's where, if you're from West Farm, we could just place you right there if we're doing something there. So.
But that's in terms of the geography. But what about you may have some students or some volunteers that prefer certain projects as over.
And if they don't mind travel,
not want specific,
right. So what I always say, you're not too old to learn. You're not too young to do a change. Change is good. I always say change is good. And I say if you are this is something you're accustomed, there's nothing wrong in learning to do something new. There's nothing wrong with that. Try it. Then if you see that you definitely don't have the hang of it, we try to place you in an area where you're comfortable. Because when they register, we look at what you're good at, what you bring to the volunteer corps. Because the form do ask, what is it you can bring to the volunteer corps? Some person will say, Ms. Kennedy, I don't know what I should put here. So I'm saying, okay, so are you good at being a leader? Are you good at being a follower? Are you good at communication, speaking in public, all these things? If we're having an event, of course, at the end of it, we would like to thank the speaker. So I'm going to choose one of them. Say, can you do the vote of thanks? Yes, so let's work up the courage to get you to not being afraid. And I do the little prayer with them. God gave you a spirit of boldness and not of fear. So let's do this. They've been doing wonders. I had a volunteer who actually came to do a session to the volunteers last year, and he's been through it. He has been through it and still in it.
So you would generally then, before we take a break, you would say that the expectations for this volunteer group has been positive.
Positive. Yes.
Okay. We will take a quick break, and when we come back, I would invite the public, if they have a question for Ms. Kennedy and the volunteer corps, can give us a call at 465-2555 locally. 718-577-2916 is the North American number, if that's more convenient for you. Let's take a quick break. We'll come back and continue on the other side.
We would never put our children in danger, right? Yet many of our families are eating too many packaged products that are high in sugars, fats, and salt, which can cause obesity and NCDs like diabetes and high blood pressure. We have a right to know what is really in our food to make healthier choices. Octagonal warning labels are the best way to spot products that are high in sugars, fats, or salt. Let's do what is best for our families. Now more than ever, we need better labels, better choices, better health.
This message is brought to you by the Pan American Health Organization, the Healthy Caribbean Coalition, the OECS Commission, and UNICEF. For more information, find us on Healthy Caribbean Coalition social media platforms.
As part of its robust national vaccination education campaign, the Ministry of Health invites the general public to a number of important COVID-19 vaccination information sessions and clinics at the following locations. Please note, Each session will begin at 6:30 in the evening. Sandy Point Community Center, Wednesday 31st March. Tuesday 6th April, Tabernacle Community Center. Wednesday 7th April, Connery Community Center. Keys Community Center on Thursday 8th April. Edgar Gilbert Sporting Complex in Molyneux, Monday 12th April. Newton Ground Primary School, Tuesday 13th April. Wednesday 14th April, St. Peter's Community Center. Thursday 15th April, Deep Bay Primary School. Monday 19th April, Irish Town Community Center. This is a public service announcement from the Ministry of Health.
Watch the people. Look out! Look out! This is it! Something new, something fresh, something exciting! Jump Off Show on Said Radio with the man Chico. Yo! Every Monday to Thursday, Chico will be in the house with the 3 to 6 minutes. So tell your neighbors, tell your friends about this exciting show on Said Radio, the Jump Off Show, every Monday to Thursday, 3 to 6. Don't miss it. While the others give you some, we give you more. Right here on Said Radio. Watch the creep.
To avoid getting the coronavirus, remember to wash your hands thoroughly and frequently before and after preparing food, after using the toilet or changing a diaper for a baby, sick person, or the elderly, after blowing your nose, and after leaving large gatherings or moving away from persons who appear ill. Encourage others to wash their hands and also use an alcohol-based hand sanitizer of 60 to 70% solution. Stay away from events having large gatherings of people. You can expose yourself to more possible infections in large groups. Also, avoid sharing cutlery, cups, glassware, etc. with others. Viruses can linger on these items and may be transferred this way. Avoid shaking and holding hands, and hugging or keeping an infected person in close proximity. This is a message from the Ministry of Health and the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA.
All right, welcome back to Frank and Candid. I am Tony Nass, and we're having a discussion here with Miss Sharon Cannonier, who is a youth officer in the Department of Youth. Youth Empowerment responsibility she has is for the Youth Volunteer Corps. We got a caller. Let's take this caller. Good morning, caller. You're live.
Yeah, good morning, Tony.
Hey, good morning.
Okay. Happy after Easter weekend.
Thank you. To you too.
Yes, and good morning, Miss Cannonier.
Good morning.
Lovely program. I have a question for you.
Sure.
Now, how do you all go about recruiting new members to this Youth Volunteer Corps? That's question number one. Mm-hmm. Because do you all go to all the villages in St. Kitts and Nevis? That is joined on to the first question. Mm-hmm. Because you got some youths around the place. The behavior and their utterances are so deplorable that is not fit to be spoken among animals, never mind among themselves. And they have no respect for themselves, no respect for adults, no respect for nothing, nobody. Their behavior is worse than drunken sailors in a rum shop. And you cannot talk to them. And they're up and down the street doing all kind of nonsense, foolishness. Mm-hmm. And I want to know if they got parents, because the parents supposed to know where they are at a certain time, mm-hmm. and the parents supposed to be aware of the behavior. Because I'm sorry to say it, but that's the way I see them behaving. They're behaving just like wild dog puppy get out of a cane field. And when they see civilized people, they don't even know the between civilized people. So my question still, how you all go about recruiting them? And I think you all have to go step it up and recruit as many of them as possible, because they're getting out of hand and they're far out of hand. I listen out here for your response, Miss Cannonier.
Okay,
thank
you.
We have another call? Okay. Yes, you want to respond to that?
Okay, so I don't know where to start in terms of the children's behavior, because I have this motto where you train up a child in the way they should grow. For the most part of it, in recruiting volunteers, they come to the department, they register. We have our ads on our Facebook page where we send out calls for volunteers. It is something that is on a yearly basis. It's ongoing on our page, within our office. It's just a phone call away, mouth to mouth, all of that. But please bear in mind that the time frame that we do have these volunteers, it's only a short space of time. We do train them in certain things, behavior when they go to a place for their service, but they are only with us for that period of time when they're doing their service. Outside of that, if there is a problem with a child and the parent mentions it to our department, comes to our department and say, I have this problem with my child, we try our utmost best, whether it's to provide counseling for the child or a sit down and intervention with that child. Miracles don't happen overnight. It's always a work in progress. It's always a work in progress. Some students have come through the volunteer corps, and when they came on, we have this program we call the Shine Project, and that in itself is another thing. That is where some of our students from camp ended up, the Shine Project, so we can work with them, get them to a better place, and we have seen such positive outcomes for that. It's the same thing with our volunteer corps. But if we don't know, we cannot act on something that we don't know. I understand what you're saying, Carla, that they have these students this part of the island and what they're doing. But if we don't know, and this is, if the parent don't come and say, you know what, I need help within the youth department, come and ask a question and say, what can you do to assist me? We don't know. So we cannot really act on something that we don't know. Now, we do apologize for that, because we try our utmost best to reach out to each and every youth that we see that seem like they are falling on the wayside. We wish not for that to be the outcome. So we try our best. But as I said, this has to be brought to our attention, and the parent has to have a say in this matter. We cannot just say, go around the island, you come, we're going to put you in the volunteer corps. The parent has to have a say.
It's volunteer.
Exactly.
Right, so, yeah. Speak to me about the organizations, businesses that may be interested in using the services of volunteer corps. Let's take this call first, and then we'll get to that. Good morning, caller.
Good morning,
Good morning.
How are you this morning? You're top.
I'm doing well.
Yeah. What I'm saying now that I have a lot to offer to my country. And when I say a lot. Now, I run a boxing academy. My name is James Davis. The James Davis Golden Girls Boxing Academy, and so forth. I realize so far, basketball been pushing, football been pushing, volleyball been pushing, and all kind of different sports is pushing. But what I realize that boxing is not moving nowhere, and boxing is one of the things that push this federation and how this federation why
That's where we got for your call.
Due to the fact of certain circumstances, so I'm saying that then, if we have a boxing academy, and not because the boxing academy is just for boxers alone. The boxing academy is for footballers, cricketers, and so forth, because they come to our academy and we realize that then you're a footballer, we give you a football. If we realize that you're a cricketer, we give you a bat, and different things like this here. But I realize to myself now that this thing will go to political side, because then what I'm saying, that then me, as I go and make this for this federation, I need to donate to my country, because the people of my federation donate to me, and I need to donate back to the youths, and different things like this here. And in order for that to happen, the government itself has to build a gym, spot then people can go and see the old-time boxers and different things like this here. So I'm asking you all the people there who's speaking now about sports and youths and different things like this here. We asking you all to please assist us, because we don't get no pay. What I want to do for St. Kitts before I die is to go to the Olympic Games with boxers I trained in the United States of America under Archie Muhammad Ali. I went to Guyana and I trained under Flathead, world champions. Okay? I trained under Tapsi. I trained under Hunks. I trained under Wygums. And so I now been recognized in this country. And I'm asking you all, please, there is somewhere that Bumpy could be recognized when he's dead and gone. May the Lord be with you all. It didn't cost all your money. I have all the equipment them in my house, rotten in. All the equipment, I have boxing gloves, I have punching bags, I have weights, I have everything. But I need a place to put them. Because I need to clean up my house.
Okay.
Help me out.
Yeah.
Have a nice day. I work at the ferry terminal, so if you want to find me at the ferry terminal. My number is 664-2633.
You have
I need to change my life and I need to be better. But then I want to be better with me youths them, training me youths them. I'm pushing me youths them forward and helping them to have a better future.
Gotcha. I will talk to you.
The Lord be with you all. Peace and love. I love your program.
All right. Thank you. Okay. All right. Well, there are a lot of good people out there doing good things and have stuff to offer, including Zach Nisbet. That caller maybe need to hook up with Zach Nisbet because he
can do a partnership.
Yeah, because he talks about that stuff as well, boxing and all that. So that could be a start of something great. It's kind of. Oh, we have a caller. Okay, let's take this call and then we could respond. Caller, go ahead. You're live.
Hello. Good morning.
Good morning.
And how are you all this morning?
I am doing well.
Thanks.
Oh, praise the Lord. Yes, you all talking about children.
Yes.
And what? Well, let me say this. Every children from a home is not the same. And sometimes it's the love from the home, cause the children them to get on. But sometimes is where the children them brought up. If you don't brought up with respect, there is not going to reach nowhere. So when they get out there, between of them, we have to show them love. Sometimes it's love these children ain't get. They wanted to do things, but sometimes our parents ain't interested. So I'm here to tell you all this morning, let us never bring down no children, because in the future, maybe who you feel like, oh, they're so rude and they're so, disgusted. Maybe them is the children going to come up in the future days. So let us continue to do what we have to do and to speak to them. All of them is not going to be the same. I speak to a lot of children, and I even take some to church. And up to now, some they get big, they go their own way. But I'm still praying for them to come out. So do all that you can, and God going to give you the courage and the understand and the love with these children, because many children, they need love. And without love, there are nothing. So let us continue to do what we have to do. I have my children them come up, play netball, play sports. I have one, Michelle French right now. She went away, represents St. Kitts and Nevis. And right now she there work in sports department. And everybody can speak about her. The way how I brought up my children them, not to disrespect people, not to rude, and to always have good behavior where they go anyway and in the home. I know sometimes some of them, will get on. And the same thing, I have grandchildren and I try my best with them. So let us love our children. Parents today, many of them, they don't really love their children. Their children then get outside with other company, and there's where they get doing wrong things. But let us not put them off.
Okay.
Let us continue to love them.
All right.
I listening to you all, and I thank you all for what you are doing, And may God continue to bless you all and keep you all in everything that you do for the children and for the parents.
Okay.
God bless you. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you.
All right, and thank you for what you do. Let's go back to the phones. Good morning. Welcome to Frank and Candid.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm on a different topic. And let me tell you what it is. Today, the US dollar to the XCD dollar is 2.70. And I'm calling from foreign. I'm in a US country. And we send money home to
Caller. Can we stick with the topic? Can you call me back another day for that? Okay. Respectfully.
The topic is MoneyGram.
Let's take the next call. Caller, we're sorry about that, but we are on a different subject this morning. Call me tomorrow, and we'll try to accommodate you. We have another caller? Let's go back to the call. Good morning. Welcome.
Yeah, good morning, Brother Tony.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and to the good lady there.
Good morning.
I shall agree with the lady over there. The authorities don't know what is going on with those children. They cannot do nothing about it. They got the parents, them got to care what the children them involved into, and when the children them is doing, that they could be involved. Because a lot of these parents cover up the children them fault. The children them get into all kind of different things, and at a tender age, you know, and they call for them over the children in this and the children in that, and that is how children get loose, get break out, and get disobedient, and don't want to hear the parents, and nobody start all out here on the road. The children, the parents, they must get involved with the police and with the authorities or whoever out there trying to help these children who lose and don't have no behavior. The parents, them got to work with them. And too many idle children out there can't talk about the culture. You cannot tell them nothing. At the kindergarten age, at the primary age, children, you cannot tell the children nothing. You hear these words they say out the mouth. Some of these words they say out the mouth is when they hear the parents themselves. And I believe that if the parents work with the police and the authorities, like what they call it again, the organization there, we show youth and development and all those things, and report those children matter to them how to behave home, I believe we got a better country and got better people and got better children. All right then.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. The youth corps is not a law enforcement agency.
No, we have New Horizon for that.
Right. So anyway, you want to respond to any of those calls we got? I take it that a lot of the callers are talking about some of the bad, but the youth corps is doing some good things, right? So
yes, we are.
Yes.
And we wish that at any point in time that we could just grab up all those children and try to get them to do better. But as I said, if we don't know, we can't just go infringe ourselves on their private lives and stuff like that. We have to basically know about something. In doing that, we wish not to have our children be going astray either. So that's why with the volunteer corps, they are taught, they are trained. So we know when they leave. Some of them get jobs, and we are so proud of them in the jobs that they get. And they're thankful because they could always come back and say, you know what, let me ask for a letter of recommendation from the youth department. And we feel so proud to write letters for them because we know what they did and we know what their behavior was like. And we know this is like when you have a baby and you've seen them all grown up and you send them out in the world and they know they're doing something positive, you feel so proud. And that's exactly how I feel. I think I have this like my baby project, so I do not wish to have any bad report about volunteers, and so then I tend to like step down on that. You know what, I can be your friend when it comes to this, but when it comes to work, I have to do this. So please do not feel that, well, because we are laughing and we are talking with them, that they're not held accountable for things that they do. Because we cannot have, as one of the callers said, all of them going out there and say, well, I was on the volunteer corps. For God forbid, one of them have on their core shirt and on the side of the road there, and say that they're in a gang, or say that they're this. That's not what we want. In the interim, we do not wish that. Well, they are strayed, that they have to be led to that part of it. But each one teach one and reach one, and if the parent come to us, then we come to the child, we deal with something that we can deal with. What we don't know how to deal with, we find the help that could assist. And that's what we're here for. We have an open door policy. No one should be afraid to come to us or to call our phone number 467-1393 or 662-6054. Feel free to call or come in and speak to Mr. Libert or myself, and we are here for you.
Okay, we're done with that. Okay, let's take this quick call. Good morning.
Yes, Tony and Miss Cannon here.
Hi.
Again, you see what happened to these youths? Training supposed to begin in the home. And if the training is not in the home, then the child is gonna display whatsoever is in the home outside. And you know, some parents, well, the problem, children getting children. That's Bible prophecy. And children cannot train children in the proper way. So when big parents gonna bust bad word after children to correct them, the child swallow the bad word and they got it in them, and anywhere they go, they're gonna use it. You never hear no pastor or no real Christian mother or father, children get out in the street and behave like them there. So therefore, basics training is what needed, and the basic training is when parents teach children to realize that there is a God above and respect everybody, and don't tell people how old they be, because they don't see about paper. When you talk to them, they want to tell you how old you be. But if they don't get the right training, it's going to be mother work, father get paid, and Pitney raise the money. Bumpy, we have too many community centers around here for you to be struggling for a place to train these youths. Go to the right channel and see if you could get a community center to use to train these youths. Don't let them get away. Okay, have a good day. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, let's take this other call. Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning, caller.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
Yes, it's a nice topic, but what happened, right? As Mr. Politics said, sometimes children ain't up good in a home and so. But what about somebody outside, a grandparents also afterward who care for the person and try to instill something to the person? So, well, you dropped out of school, you never get enough education, and they will like you to go back and get some, and the person like neglecting. You know, you just can't take a hammer or a nail and take a hammer and pong it in the head, right? Because they tell us, oh, I'm 21 and I'm 22, so I wonder where granny coming with her, I wonder where grandfather coming with her. But you want the best for them. As far as say, education is the best thing in the world. A man without education, the better off dead. And you, the grandmother, don't see what struggle you have in life. And now you want the betterment for the grandchild. And with the grandchild going to tell you, oh, I'm 20 this and me ain't taking on that because they got a little shift job. Which why you maybe pick up somebody and drop them the away one. That is not enough. You want them to do better. Because you had somebody just like them. Someone in the family was like them, and they come better. They know they got a better job because what? They listen to somebody else, and they go a little 2 weeks a night, you know, school. Yeah, night school.
Okay.
And if their person listen to you, I'm going back here.
All right.
They will understand where you're coming from. So sometimes it means good, but somebody out there who's right and the person too, how them leading astray. Yeah, I see it in my own eyes. And right now I look like I got a problem with that. So one day, when you hear me say knock off one of my grandchildren, don't worry because I want for best word.
Okay, let's not do that. All right. Well, Ms. Kennedy, before we go, talk to us. People who in business who would like to use the volunteer call service, and people who would like to register. Talk to us about that and wrap up for us.
Okay, so as I said before, we welcome persons who are NGOs especially to come in or call into the department. You can express your interest in having some of our volunteers do service with you. Please bear in mind that you have to specify and say what experience, how this will benefit the volunteers. The program that we have, it's something that we basically, it helps to prepare them for work. It builds up the experience, of course, and we wish for them not to be taken advantage of, but when they leave there, they can say, you know what, I have left with a special type of skills that I did not have. In doing that, we know that the students can always call on us to do job references or recommendations for them, and that can only be done if we know that the students are doing something that they can take in, not something that they go there and they're like, oh, I'm so not interested in this. But we welcome persons. You come in, you sign up. Of course, there's a 2 weeks time frame that you have to do that within in order to give us adequate time to get those volunteers for you. Please bear in mind after that you are to fill evaluation forms for the volunteers that you did have to let us know how they did, and the volunteers in turn will write the report on their experience. So we are located on the 3rd floor of the Cable Building. Feel free to stop in or to call us, as I said. Our telephone number 467-1393 or our cell phone, which is 662-6054.
All right, and thank you, Ms. Kennedy, for all the information you've shared with us today. We hope people will take you up on that as far as the volunteer corps is concerned. And if you know some young people who could use this kind of training and experience, make the call. Refer them to the youth department and see what we can do to make the change. Thank you all for your calls. Thank you all for listening. I'm Tony Nice, and we will be back tomorrow, if it is to be, to have more discussions right here on Frank and Candid.
Cargo shouldn't be a hassle. It can be as easy as a single